Welcome back to another episode of the Sad Dad Games podcast. I am Eric.
I'm Shan.
And I'm Emerlie.
And you are listening to another super fun episode of Eric's Indie Corner. Yay, hooray. We love Eric's Indie Corner. So for those of you who... Shan can take it or leave it. It's whatever.
I have to be here. I have to hit the record button.
Yeah.
I'm the only one willing to pay monthly.
Shan's the one with the subscription, and so he has to be present for every single episode. So it's not so much that Shan enjoys Eric's Indie Corner as that I'm holding him captive while I talk about indie games. So today, for those of you who don't know, Eric's Indie Corner is a time where I talk about indie games. I pick out an indie game that I love, and we talk about it for a little while. I tell you what's so great about it, and hopefully it makes you guys want to play it. So that would make me very happy. My ultimate goal for Eric's Indie Corner is for people to listen to at least one episode and go, that sounds like a cool game. Maybe I'll try it out.
And then to listen to the rest of the episodes.
And then to listen to the rest of the episodes. To boost our hours and also to play those games. But mostly the hours. Like, comment, and subscribe. You have to do it. All right, so today we are talking about a super cool game called Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. It is a game that is exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. It's a top-down action-adventure kind of puzzly game developed by a studio called Snoozy Kazoo that released on April 22nd of 2021. So it's been out for a minute. It's a weird one. It's an interesting game. So I'm excited to kind of dive in and chat about it. I know that Shan has lots of fun thoughts about taxes. I have lots of fun thoughts about taxes. So we're going to have lots of fun things to talk about in this episode.
Just have a lot of pent-up anger about the aristocracy.
Yeah,
and wanting to burn it down.
I have gone on record more than once saying my least favorite thing about being alive is taxes. It's bad. It's a bad time for everybody. What does Ron say? Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec. He's like, first of all, income tax is illegal.
Is illegal. Yes, that's exactly what he says.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we jump too far into it, let's talk about a couple of other notable games from the studio. As I was doing my research earlier, there is a sequel to this game called Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. It's kind of a roguelike game where you rob a bank. So he's up in his game, tax evasion and then bank robbery.
Is it because he did not successfully avoid taxes, and so he ends up having to pay them back, and he goes and robs a bank? Like,
listen, you're gonna have to play the games to find out.
Yeah. Okay, his life has spiraled out of control.
You start small with tax evasion, and then you start robbing banks, and then upcoming there is a Turnip Boy Steals the Mail. So I guess once you've robbed a bank, you go right back down to just less. I mean, still a federal offense, but not robbing a bank. Yeah.
Turnip Boy breaks bad.
Yeah, Turnip Boy breaks bad. He's getting into all sorts of mischief, tax evasion, robbing banks, stealing mail. It's just a bad time. And that one hasn't come out yet. That one's an upcoming game, as well as another upcoming game from the studio called Hobnobbers, which, based on my limited research, looks like some kind of multiplayer 3D platformer. So if you like these games, look out for those. They're coming soon. All right, so how I like to break it down here is we talk a little bit about the story and then gameplay and then visuals and sound. And so story for Turnip Boy, we've touched on it a little bit already, but you play as Turnip Boy and you commit tax evasion. How this happens is...
intentionally or accidentally, because they've been on both sides.
It's a...
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah, hashtag relatable. So... Turnip Boy, it's a little bit of both. He comes back home one day to his greenhouse to find a notice on his door that says, "Hey, you owe a bajillion whatevers in back taxes." He gets this message from Mayor Onion.
There.
Yeah, same.
I'm still paying back taxes.
I think I just. So a little bit of context. I used to own a Jamba Juice. My wife and I owned a Jamba Juice for like 8 years. And the first year we had it, we being kind of green with business ownership, we were setting aside our taxes not the right way. And so the first year when we did our taxes, our accountant did our taxes, he gave us back the results and we were like, our jaws hit the floor. We owed so much money in taxes. I won't give the numbers, but whatever you're thinking, way more than that. A ridiculous amount of money in taxes. And then the next year we fixed the problem mostly, but we've owed at least a little bit a couple $1,000s in taxes or way more every year since we opened our business. And so we just barely, very recently finished and got caught up on our back taxes. So I relate to Turnip Boy on this. So taxes, the worst part of being alive. Owning a small business and paying taxes is rough. It's just rough. So
Well,
this
Eric,
actually,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say this last year is actually the first time where I think we got back like $80 for our tax return, and we were ecstatic. We were like, we finally don't owe money, and our tax return was so small. It was like, you don't even have to mail us a check. We could just break even, and that's fine.
Just enough to pay for stat, or to pay for filing state.
Yeah.
Jeez. So I'm getting deja vu here because I feel like there's another game that also was about tax evasion, and that was the catalyst for the whole story, right?
Yeah, apparently this is a subgenre of indie games that I didn't really realize until just now. But yeah, a month or two ago, we covered a game called Another Crab's Treasure, where you play as the main character Krill, and he comes back to find his shell. You're a hermit crab, and his shell has been repossessed because you owe a bunch of back taxes. So Turnip Boy finds himself in a very similar situation. But Turnip Boy handles it super differently, which is hilarious. Krill goes on an adventure trying to earn money so that he can pay his back taxes and buy his shell back. And then Turnip Boy finds the notice on his door from Mayor Onion that says, hey, you owe a bunch of back taxes. And then he just rips it in half.
Oh, no.
And it's just, which is kind of a running theme. That's actually some of the collectibles that you get throughout the game are like different legal documents and stuff like that. And Turnip Boy is this very funny, he's got the kind of like the Adventure Time eyes that are like wide apart, and then the line for a mouth and like little chubby cheeks. He's got this very cutesy kind of look, but just like the very blank stare on his face. And so you walk up to the house and just blankly you're committing tax evasion, and then he just sort of nonplussed happily just rips it in half, don't care, I'm just gonna keep living my life. It's adorable and very silly. And so as you go throughout the game, you find these little tax documents and legal documents and stuff, and instead of collecting them and adding them to your inventory, the moment that you find them, you just rip them in half, and you're like, yep, you found the collectible. Rip, done with that. It's just this complete disregard for all structure and government, and he's just an anarchist with a smile on his face.
So I have a question. What is the currency in this game? Because in Another Crab's Treasure, it was microplastics, right?
It was microplastics. I don't remember.
Do they ever say what the currency is? I'm very curious.
Well, Eric, as something of a populist anti-establishmentarian as I am myself, I feel like I'm already relating to this character.
You really feel a kinship with Turnip Boy as he tears up tax documents and just goes about his life.
Yeah.
Without spoilers, Turnip Boy doesn't all the way get away with it either. That's what the adventure is. So you eventually find, you go to your pennies. I looked it up as the answer. Pennies is the currency. It's just called pennies. So money is the currency.
It's about the only access to wealth that us plebes are have anyway. So.
Another
only
scathing
have
indictment on capitalism. Hey, I only have pennies. That makes sense. Yeah. So Turnip Boy gets to the door of his greenhouse, finds the notice on there, tears it up, but then the door is locked. He can't get into his greenhouse, so he goes over to Mayor Onion's office, and Mayor Onion says, hey, you got to run some errands for me. And thus begins Turnip Boy's adventure. You run some errands for Mayor Onion, and that's just kind of
anti-establishment, and he does something for the man.
I know, right? He just wants the keys back to his house, I guess. So he is still very anti-establishment, but there is some kind of he runs a couple errands for the mayor. So.
Well, I just feel like if you've already set yourself diametrically opposed to institution, that the first line of action would be to take a gun to the mayor's head and ask, and then force him to give you.
Give me my house back.
Give me my house back. It's my house. No,
Turnip Boy gets a gat.
Yeah, that's the fourth game. Is Turnip Boy gets a gun. Yeah.
Gator needs his gat, you punk ass bitch.
Yep. So So yeah, that's pretty much it for the story. I mean, there's more story beats obviously as it goes on, and it all comes to a head, and it follows a very fairly predictable but still interesting story beats. One thing though is that the dialogue is very silly and sharply written. All of the characters are they're caricatures of things. They're very silly and kind of dumb, and some of them are sort of one note, but they're all very fun, sharply written characters. That the game is genuinely pretty funny, and so that was another fun thing about it. So writing is very solid, good part of the story. So that brings us on to the gameplay. Gameplay is very reminiscent of like a top-down Zelda style game, but a lot more bite-sized. You kind of move through things more quickly. Like sprawling large-scale dungeons are swapped out for puzzle dungeons that still feel very Zelda-like, but are quite a bit shorter in length. So it has kind of like this bite-sized Zelda feel that I really got into. And it has Shan's favorite thing. It's got nice chunky items.
Chunky items.
Chunky items. I know how Shan misses chunky items in his Zelda games. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, chunky items mean, like, for example, in a game like Ocarina of Time is like the hook shot. You can't get to this area until you have the hook shot on that thing and get there. It's like it's an item that gates your progress. You need this item to progress to this area to progress the story.
And I feel like also what I mean by it is it feels like classic retro games. Those items, you had fewer of them and they felt more imbued with meaning than by today's standards. So, and just like stylistically, they were just like placed in those black boxes, and it just felt like they had so much meaning, and they did something so big to like the mechanics of the game. And now it's like you get an item and you use it in one dungeon or whatever the game's design is, and then you just kind of discard it and you don't think about it again. And chunky items, like I feel like Animal Well did this so well, where you get an item and you can incorporate it into the rest of the game's gameplay, and it has so much meaning and chunkiness. And so I crave the return to chunkiness.
Gotta love the chunkiness. Yeah. So I think that this game does a pretty good job of having those chunky items that are important and kind of change how you interact with the overworld map and subsequent dungeons. So pretty good job of that, I feel like. So yeah, it progresses pretty, like the structures for how the missions progresses. It is a little fetch questy in design, but it doesn't feel boring and fetch questy. It's like, this character needs this item, and it feels more kind of like lock and key puzzles, where you're trying to figure out like, oh, I got this item from this character, and now I know that I need to bring it to this person, so they'll give me a key so that I can get into the dungeon. So there's a lot of that kind of like, it feels sort of like the item exchanging subquests in Zelda games, like when you're getting the Biggoron sword in Ocarina of Time, where it's like you get this item from this person and then you have to take it to that person, and they give you this and you have to take it to that person. It feels more like that than it does like standard fetch questing in an RPG or something. So there's a fair bit of that in this story.
I mean, it doesn't sound like what you just explained, but I did listen to something that explained to me what makes like Death Stranding so specifically different from your standard fetch questing, in that it is basically all fetch quests, but why it feels so great is because the fetching isn't the mechanic, it's the in-between spaces where you're carrying out the mission and you're running into obstacles of like enemies or the obstacles of the ground that you have to dynamically and strategically plan your way around. And the world design is so dynamic and brilliantly designed, such that like it really forces your hand to do some really creative things and plan ahead, and that makes it feel vibrant. And generally fetch quests are literally like, hey, this is a side quest. It's just filler items in an RPG that needed 30 to 50 hours. So you just need to literally go out there, grab an item, come back, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah, it's they're more purposefully designed than that. But yeah, Death Stranding is a good example of fetch questing that doesn't feel like fetch questing. So yeah, let's see. So yeah, I kind of touched on it. Chunky items, Zelda-style dungeons. There are some side quests and NPCs that you can do. So if you just kind of go through the story, there's, you can kind of just blast through it that way. But there's little collectibles and side things that you can do. None of them really serve a huge purpose in upgrading Turnip Boy. I think that you can get like health upgrades and things like that by doing some side missions. So that's always useful. But mostly it's there for like you can wear little hats. And so silly little cosmetic things, but it's a short enough game that it was fun for me to do all of the side stuff just because it was a fun game and I wanted to keep playing it. Sometimes that's enough for me for side quests. It's like I don't need a promise of a reward. Sometimes the reward is just getting to play the game for longer because it's a fun game. So, and that's how I kind of felt with this game. Is it was short enough that I just wanted to keep playing. So it was fun to just engage with the side content because I wanted to. All right, visuals and sound. It's fairly simple pixel art, but it's bright and colorful. It uses a really nice, pleasing kind of a slightly earthy kind of a color palette, which fits really well. Earthy, you're a vegetable. It has kind of like a good vibe that way. Very nice looking game. The pixel art animation isn't something that you're going to look at and your jaw is going to hit the floor, but it's pleasant and very cute, and I found myself really enjoying the art style in this game. There's also like hand-drawn portraits for when you're having conversations with NPC characters. So nice little illustrations there that look really nice. Animation is mostly very good. In some instances, it can be a little bit stilted. Like I wouldn't have minded a slightly smoother attack animation for Turnip Boy's sword. But for the most part, the game animates and looks very, very nice. So the game looks really good, runs really well. I played it on Switch, no performance issues there. Music composed by James Courier and Ryan Barbone, who are collectively known as FBLK. They're like a band, I guess, and that's their band name. But it's fun, upbeat, and more serious and somber when it needs to be. But really enjoyed the music for this game as well. So visuals and sound are all very nice. Lots of top marks for them. Good. It's a good looking and a good sounding game. Another funny thing about this game is I played this game right after I got my tonsils out. And so I was on like some pretty serious pain meds. And I couldn't, my wife didn't want to leave me alone like by myself for too long. And so there was one evening where I don't remember what she was doing, but she took the girls and she had to go out and do like grocery shopping or something, maybe, I'm not sure. But she asked her dad if he would come and sit with me just to like make sure I was okay and didn't need anything while I was recovering from getting my tonsils out. And so I'm playing this game, and my father-in-law, I love my father-in-law, he's a wonderful man. He's a very traditional like Southern man. And so he's just kind of sat next to me on the couch and was looking up at the screen. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, and I was in the situation where I had to explain Turnip Boy commits tax evasion to my 75-year-old father-in-law who's never played a video game in his life, where he was just like, are you playing a game? And I was like, yeah, this is, I'm playing as this guy. He's a turnip. And he's like, well, why are you playing as a turnip? And I was like, it's just like a cute little character. And he's like, well, why aren't you like a person? I don't understand why it's a turnip. And I was like, oh, well, that's what the game designers, I thought it'd be cute to play as a little turnip. And, he came home to his house and he owed back taxes and he's committing. So I have to run some errands to get money and he was just looking at me like I was speaking a different language. Like, what are you talking about?
You're like, what, moment, 35, Eric? Yeah. And he's just like, oh no, he's just looking at me this man is going nowhere. This little boy who married my daughter.
Yeah. You know what?
You did great.
I do great. He was just looking at me like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll sit here with you. And I was like, I'll turn on a TV show. He's like, no, you play your game. And I was like, all right. And so I just sat there super awkwardly and played Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion next to my father-in-law. And, we had a good laugh about it. And that was my fun little Turnip Boy story. But yeah, I had a great time with this game. Super fun stuff. It's not very long. It's pretty short. It's like 3 to 5 hours. But it also comes, if you buy the more current version, it had a free update that adds it's called Sunset Station, and it adds what's it called? Like an endless kind of a roguelike mode. It's not super roguelitey, but it's like an endless mode where you're on a train, you move from car to car and you fight enemies, and you can unlock more fun cosmetics and little items and things for the main game. So lots of replay value there if you want to squeeze more time out of that. But yeah, super fun game. Cool stuff. Turnip Boy commits tax evasion.
I wanted to point out that this game uses a trope in animation that I don't see that often, that I think is really fun. It uses the invisible anatomy trope, which I had first seen as a kid in, maybe I saw it in Rayman first, but after that, Homestar Runner.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then VeggieTales uses it. I didn't watch VeggieTales.
Yeah.
But it's the
concept, just like there's an implied
yeah.
limb. Yeah.
Yeah. So So this protagonist, he's just like wielding a gun, and it's just like floating in front of his person. Yeah. But he has no limbs. And I just loved for a minute remembering how charming Homestar Runner was. And I was like, why does this feel familiar? And it's like, oh, it's because I watch a shit ton of Homestar Runner.
So much Homestar Runner.
Gosh, do you guys remember Homestar Runner? That was yes. Like the heyday. That was the best time of the internet, where the internet was still relatively innocent and fun, and it hadn't quite yet morphed into the soul-crushing behemoth that it is today.
Yeah.
The hateful, vitriolic,
yeah,
the bottomless pit of evil that it is now.
No, I was definitely obsessed with Homestar Runner. My first email address was the_cheat@hotmail.com.
Oh, I love that.
I remember I remember way back then, I was like, I love this website so much. And I told myself that I wanted to make money online. And I was like, I don't quite understand how they're making money through their website. I just assumed merch, but I couldn't figure out like what else. I was very young, you know. But I told myself I want to make money online, and that inspired me. And now I'm currently trying to make money online. So, it's still there. Still working. I have made money online. I just don't make consistent money online. For people who listen, I am a content creator. That's why I run the podcast for Shan. Yeah. So, anyways,
you want to do a quick plug for yourself, Emerlie? Where can they find you?
You can find me online. I changed all my
on the internet. That's it. End of plug. Yeah.
And take it to the internet.
Be super easy to find you.
No, so you can find me on most platforms, Emerlie and Miller, EMERLIEANN Miller. And you can also find on a lot of platforms my actual business account, which is Neo Sugar Rush. And yeah, I am a sugar artist, and I'm a content creator. And I just launched a website where I teach people how to make 3D cakes and gravity-defying cakes, and how to be competitors like me. Fun stuff.
Obviously, our demography has a perfect circle of a Venn diagram.
It's a huge overlap of video game enthusiasts and people who bake cakes.
Yes, all of my followers are 24 to 44-year-old women, like 90% women on all of my platforms. And I have a decent amount of followers, but here it's all men. And so occasionally I will cross-post to my accounts and just crickets. No one cares about it whatsoever. Because they're all, a lot of people, like I'm very, very young for my industry. And so all of my friends are like, they're mothers. Some of them are grandmothers. And you don't see a lot of people my age, especially at the level I'm at. So no, there's no overlap. Like I have people come over and take classes from me, and I have a lot of toys and collectibles and things in my living room, and people will look at it. It's usually the grooms. I've done cake tastings for people, and it's usually just the grooms looking over at everything like, wow, this is an impressive collection. And a lot of times they're like, well, this must be your husband's. I'm like, no, a lot of this is mine. And then we also have a whole Lego wall just full of minifigures in the hallway. And it's always the moms will go over and be like, I want to take a picture for my kids. And I'm like, yes, I'm a grown adult. This is mine. It's great.
Yeah. Shan and I, before we started recording, we were talking about how we're often the cool uncles because I share a lot of interests with children. And so I really like toys, and I really like action figures, and I like Legos, and I like video games. And so all of my nephews are like, and Uncle Eric, you're the coolest person we've ever met. And that's because we share all of the same interests.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have seen Raising Hope.
I love Raising Hope. It's a great show.
There's a quote on there where I think it's Sabrina says to Jimmy, she's like, your daughter shouldn't be confused on which toys are hers and which ones are yours.
Yeah, my daughters aren't confused. These are mine. The ones on the shelves are not toys.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, well,
yeah, speaking of you and your space, I had the thought and worry recently, like if this ever were to grow, which shows currently no sign of growing, although if we reach 100 subscribers, I have heard that the algo starts becoming more favorable to us, and it is just a very sclerotic rise in subscribers, so that probably won't happen.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. Anyway, I have been worried, what if we become associated with the manosphere because we are in the genre of gaming, and that is just where the gaming pods tend to go, and I don't want to be associated with it. So I don't know, maybe Emerlie, you can help anchor us back to some semblance of just like neutrality.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm hoping just like our general vibes keeps us away from those vibes. It's I don't care if that's what you are or that's what you like. I just don't want to do it. That's not what I want to be.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, 90% of my followers are women. I do get a lot of DMs asking for, to be a sugar daddy to me from these men. But I think it's because of being a sugar artist and using all of these hashtags, sugar in all my content, it attracts sugar daddies. So that's what I bring to the table. Sugar daddies. And no women who want to watch this. So I don't know if I'm really going to help balance this out whatsoever.
You attract us a sugar daddy?
What?
I said, can you attract us a sugar daddy? A nameless
Would you like one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll share some.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call in a lot of my videos, I'm like, hey, my sugar babies. So I do say that too. It doesn't help the situation, but
it's gross as a man says it, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, sugar babies. Yeah, see.
I didn't like that.
No.
That was bad. Don't ever do that again.
Oh,
don't refer to yourself as our daddy.
You're to kiss the boo-boo.
Andy has a boo-boo. Oh, man.
All right, any last thoughts about Turnip Boy before we close it out?
No, I'm on his side.
It's hilarious.
I'm rooting for this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all on Turnip Boy's side. Taxes are ridiculous.
I'm 99% versus the 1. We're all on the same side. Bottom up.
You should play this one then. You'd really like it.
I too would like to rip up documents. I got funny story starting the podcast. I got like an actual letter from lawyers, because I wasn't paying on my laptop.
Hello, this is lawyers.
Hello, this is lawyers. And it was for my laptop. I wasn't making payments on it like a year ago. And I just kind of was like, well, I still can't make any payments. And now they're expecting the full amount because I stopped payments for a long time. And Shan found out because my whole family found out. It was like not even in an envelope. It was just a stack of papers like stapled together left on the front doorstep. And so my whole family found out because I didn't see it first and didn't hide it, whatever. And so Shan was like, okay, I want to start this podcast. I will pay off your laptop. And now you're indebted to me. So
I own you legally.
Yes,
Not
he
that
owns
there's-
me legally.
Yeah.
There-
That doesn't denote anything of baggage historically, I don't think. So I can use that kind of terminology.
Yeah. But yeah, I should have ripped up those documents. I was just going to ignore it because I'm like, well, I can't pay. I don't know what's going to happen. And Shan's like, you idiot. They're going to take your laptop. So now I'm indebted to him because it was like $2,000 I owed. So that's why I run the podcast, and it's great.
Yay.
And I will never stop running the podcast. So I will be here forever. And it was very relatable. And Shan and I do not have an actual contract that I can rip up, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah. Hey, dipshits out there. If you don't pay for something, what happens? You don't own it. They will take it back from you. They're not just like, oh, here's a freebie.
Yeah. Well, we tried. It reminds me of in Parks and Rec when Ben is teaching April and Andy how to be grown-ups. And Ben's like, where do you keep all of your mail? And Andy's like, oh, well, April's like, I sorted into a nice little pile over here. And Andy's like, yeah. And then I put it in the freezer. And Ben takes it out. It's just this huge stack of bills. And he's like, you have to pay these. And then Andy goes, well, it's a good thing I didn't lose them. And it's like,
And they're eating out of Frisbees. And it's like,
Yeah.
this was Emerlie's life. And it's like, one thing at a time, I guess.
It escalated for sure. I actually recently, I never open my mail. I don't open my text messages. I open nothing. I just avoid things in my life. But I very recently...
If I didn't read it, it never happened. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I recently got a letter in the mail. This was like probably 2 months ago. And I thought it was a hospital bill. And I was like, are you serious? It's been like 3 years. They're billing me again. And so I usually just ignore it. But this time I actually opened up the letter and it was a refund. It was like $500 that they refunded me because I overpaid. So, open your mail and then rip it up if it's not
You might
worth
want
it.
to do yourself a favor and check the state to see if you have any funds that you just haven't, that you just never cashed the check for. And it went to the state and they're just like collecting
Yeah, what do they
interest
call
on
that?
your name.
I actually literally just looked that up for a different reason. I looked it up like 2 weeks ago. I do not have any uncollected money, but I found out a cousin of mine has uncollected money that's over $250. And so I was like, hey, someone tell him he has money that he can go get. But no, I don't have any uncollected funds.
All right. Well,
Fun
your
stuff.
life makes me sad. I'm sure you have at least 20 Horcruxes to your name from all the times that your soul has been split from your bad decision making.
It's true. Someday I'll make money online and it'll be worth it.
There you go. Until then,
it'll take a long time for it to be worth it. A lot of money, I mean. All right.
I'm in too deep.
Eric, please take us out.
I'll take us out. Okay, I'll end it. I felt like the last 5 minutes of that I didn't really need to be here for this.
I'm so sad. So sad.
Womp womp.
Taxman.
All right, so Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion will take you about 3 to 5 hours to complete, a little bit more if you want to engage with the Endless Train mode. What's it called? Sunset Station DLC. It's available on Windows, Mac OS, Switch, Xbox One, PS4, iOS, and Android. So you can get it pretty much anywhere. And it is $14.99. But it goes on sale pretty often. I think I snagged it for like $3 or $4. So it's a good one. Check it out. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can find us wherever you find podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure to listen every Monday for our regular series, every Thursday for Eric's Indie Corner. Like, comment, subscribe. We would love to hear from you guys and tell all your friends. And we got to hit that sweet 100 subscribers mark to get that algorithm to be nice to us. So listen to us next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Outro. Bleep-a-doof, bleep-a-deep, bloop-a-dee-blow.